record.
I actually put it on my phone.
Let's call the February 13th Planning and Zoning Regular Commission meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. We do have one public hearing tonight, so if you're wishing to testify for that, we have sheets in the back. Fill those out and turn those in up front over here. We'll start with roll call.
Walton,
Here.
Kimball,
Present.
Stephenson,
Here.
Schlotthauer,
Here.
Hempy,
Here?
Wilhelm.
Here.
All right, thank you. Next item is ceremonies, announcements, appointments, and presentations.
Yeah, so we kind of go over some national days at times of this, as well as some other things if they come up. But yeah, today is National Wingman Day, so it's a time to celebrate that person that maybe helped you through some experiences in life. And it's also National Cheddar Cheese Day. So, you can have maybe some cheese with your wingman. But cheddar cheese accounts for more than a third of all the cheese sold in the United States and is the top choice of the most cheese selections. It is unique for its peculiar way it was made in England. Cheddar Gorge, on the edge of the village Cheddar in Somerset, England, is home to the origin of cheddar cheese. That gorge had several caves, and it provided the perfect humidity and steady temperature for manufacturing the cheese. So that's kind of how the cheddar cheese came to be.
All right. Now I'm going to win on trivia night. So. All right. Moving right along. Any amendments to the agenda tonight?
Commissioners, no amendments. I just wanted to point out that we've provided updated bench copies of the books in front of you. Should be one for each of you, and then Field and I are going to be getting copies to take home as well.
Okay.
So the updates to those books, just a couple of things, are the motions are all under one tab now towards the tail end of that book, if you're looking for the motion tab. Otherwise, it's nearly the same. I just wanted to point that out to you.
Okay. And you guys are putting something together that we can take home?
It'd be a similar version to that, yes.
Okay, very cool. All right, good to know. Thank you. Any declaration of conflict, ex parte contacts, site visits from any commission members?
None.
None. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar.
Yeah, we have action item A, which is the meeting minutes from the Planning and Zoning meeting of January 9th, 2024. Action item B is the post-PUD and subdivision reason decision, file numbers PUD 23-1 and SUBD 23-4.
Okay. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at that in the packet. Anybody like to make a motion on that?
I move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Roll call, please.
Walton,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Stephenson,
Yes.
Schlotthauer,
Yes.
Hempy,
Yes.
Wilhelm.
Yes.
All right. Next item, citizen issues. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission on an item that is not on the agenda tonight. Persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Comments related to pending public hearings, including decisions being appealed to city council, are out of order at this time and should be held for the public hearing. Repeating comments of similar topics are also out of order. Comments around performance of city staff are inappropriate at the time and should be directed to the mayor by appointment. With that being said, is there anybody that has anything, citizen issues tonight? Okay.
Had signed up for one, I'm going to go ahead and pass for it at this moment. Thank you.
Say it again now.
I had signed up to do one, but I'm going to
For the
pass at this moment
for the hearing or?
for speaking for citizen issue.
Well, so this is outside of the public hearing now. So if this, so you have something for the hearing though? Or? Okay, cool. That works too. All righty. Anybody else?
That looks fishy.
All right, seeing none.
Well, was it National Fish Day?
Oh, that looked cheesy.
Yeah, I prefer that.
You guys and your puns. Item number 3, any unfinished or old business? Don't see any on the agenda. Public hearings. We have one tonight. So we'll open up the Legion Park Annex File ANNX 23-7.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ethan Porter, one of the planners here with the city. I'm here to present the Legion Park annexation. So looking at the owner of this property, we have Blackwell Homes LLC, who's represented here tonight, as well as the applicant, Van Houten Consulting and Design LLC. So tonight they're requesting zoning recommendation to City Council. So that would be your motion option tonight, would be the zoning recommendation. They want to provide a recommendation to City Council for the zoning designation of single-family residential R1 on approximately 1.06 acres. It is 1.21 acres with the full annexation, including the right-of-way and the full annexation section. The property itself is 1.06 acres, so looking at that, that's kind of what they were requesting tonight. Project location here you can see is hashed in red. It's south of Pole Line. It's on the northeast corner of Legion Road and Syringa Street. So you can see kind of running south along Syringa, that red hatch goes on. That's the extra piece that needs to be annexed in the city. So there's a little sliver there that remains. So that's what makes it larger than just the parcel itself. So excuse me. That being said, currently it's large lot residential within Kootenai County. There's no significant physical characteristics or natural features on the site worth noting other than it's over the Ratcham Prairie Aquifer. Water provider in this area is going to be Ross Point Water District, and the wastewater would be provided by the City of Post Falls. Just kind of looking at some of the surrounding zoning and land uses. To the north, we have 2 other Kootenai County residential lots there that you can see. Then to the east, you have a R1 subdivision, Syringa Court. It's residential. And then to the south, it continues on with that same Syringa Court residential subdivision, kind of wraps around to the east and to the south. To the west, across the street there, we have the Legion Manor subdivision, also residential, R1, single family. And then just north of that, you do have the Legion, American Legion Veteran Establishment. So that is kind of the makeup of the zoning around that location, as the yellow is going to be the R1 single family. And then that smart code zoning, SC4 and SC, or SC3 and SC4, further down Syringa Street to the east of it, you can see there too. So that is the makeup of the area. So looking at the review criteria for annexations, we first look at the consistency with the future land use map in the focus area, basically making sure that that aligns with the Post Falls comprehensive plan that's currently adopted. So future land use designation, which you'll see on the future land use map upcoming, on the upcoming slide, but it's low density residential. So that basically encompasses all types of single family residential uses, up to 8 dwelling units per acre, and they support land uses such as parks, schools, public facilities. So densities may vary appropriate to location, street, and infrastructure capacities, plan development patterns, and compatibility with existing development. So the implementing zonings, as you can see on the bottom of the screen there in that slide, it's R1's bolded, so that's what the request is. That does align with the low density residential future land use designation. So here's the map for that. You can see surrounding the whole area there, and entirety of the map is going to be low density residential. So all those R1 single family residential subdivisions surrounding it, they all align with that as well. So compatibility wise, you would basically be meeting that with the adjacent properties in zoning. Kind of looking at the focus area, we see that it's basically the northwest corner of the Central Island area there. It's called out there on that little corner piece, but the Central Island focus area highlights a couple points there. It's promoting infill development in this context area, which this would be definitely an infill development. Prioritizes annexation opportunities, which again, this would be the case here, being infill development and kind of closing up some of those county island pockets. And support development patterns that are interconnected and that provide pedestrian connectivity to all multi-use paths and trails. So to the north, you have Pole Line Avenue, and then they have that multi-use path along that. So, further connection with the pedestrian networks once developed. You get the sidewalk and kind of that pedestrian network kind of being branched out, further helping that connection to that Pole Line multi-use trail. Looking at the second review criteria, we look at the proposed zoning district, making sure it's consistent with the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan and that are relevant to the area under consideration. So goals 1, 7, and 12 kind of highlight a couple goals there that basically look at this proposal, grow and sustain a balanced, resilient economy for Post Falls, providing community prosperity and fiscal health. So it kind of goes in a little more detail with staff report, but making sure that the city's meeting those needs and staying fiscally healthy. Development does help with that in certain areas. So plan for and establish types and quantities of land uses in Post Falls supporting community needs and the city's long-term sustainability. So goal 7 kind of helps providing, future city housing for that. R1 would basically, you're probably going to get single-family homes. So you can look at that and kind of see, we're meeting a need there, meeting some of our housing needs, making sure that that land is contained for housing needs as well, being annexed and zoned appropriately. So goal 12, maintain the city's Post Falls long-term fiscal health. Again, I kind of highlighted that already. We look at the policies now, and policy 1, support land use patterns that look at maintaining or enhancing community levels of service, the long-term fiscal health again of the community, the resident quality of life, compatible, well-designed development, kind of what I already touched on, being around single family already. You kind of have that compatibility there. You're increasing the housing stock, you're helping out there. So those would kind of be aligned with that. And so the goals and policies, obviously, we're covering now. Policy 2 looks at apply or revise zoning designations with careful considerations for the following factors there that are bulleted. We'll go into a little bit more of them in the upcoming slides, but we look at future land use mapping, which we kind of already discussed, being low density residential, compatibility again with the surrounding land uses, which we already highlighted, and we'll go into infrastructure and service plans as well as existing and future traffic patterns. So with that being said, policy 8 and 9, kind of I already highlighted a little bit in the previous slides, but that infill development piece as well as the encouraging the annexation of county islands. So both these are pretty high points for this as far as it is county island and it would be infill development. So looking at, creating more homes for the community as well as closing up some of those county islands because they're still lingering around out there. So looking at the infrastructure and service plans in this area, the city's water reclamation system has the capacity to provide service, and the city is willing to serve the property at the requested zoning request. You can see a little bit more staff comment in the staff report highlighting that, but ultimately there is capacity and the willingness to serve. Ross Point, as mentioned, would be the water district in that area and the water provider, so coordination would need to be with them. And then looking at future traffic patterns, staff mentioned, and talked about the Syringa Street being a minor collector and Legion Road, a local street, located to the south of the proposed development or the proposed proposal. So the annexation. So both roadways would benefit from the Pole Line Avenue, which is, a major arterial. You would be able to get out of the development, head north, and then go east and west on Pole Line as needed. Obviously, south on Syringa Street's an option too. So the road classifications do meet and suffice for this proposed zoning and as requested. So policies 24 and 26 basically talk about some of that transportation aspect and those continuity of sidewalks, kind of like I discussed a little bit more. So you're improving the continuity of sidewalks. Upon development, you'll get those frontage improvements, which include the sidewalks, as well as that transportation corridor. You get rights of way, as well as closing up any issues with the city boundary there. So, looking at the third review criteria, we look at if the proposed zoning that is requested, does that create a demonstrable adverse impact upon the delivery of services by any political subdivision providing public services within the city. So, with this, we send out the notice to the agencies and the other jurisdictions and looking at, what do they got to say about the proposal? Is there any issues that they see? And basically when we send that out, what we get back is some comments, and, we got 5 of them back. The Yellowstone Pipeline Company had no comments. The Cooney County Fire and Rescue, they'll reserve comments for permitting process, and then the police department remained neutral, as well as Cooney County Community Development had no comments. And then the Post Falls Highway District was in favor, as it is consistent with the City of Post Falls comprehensive plan. So of those agencies, these are the comments back. None of them have basically identified a demonstrable adverse impact. So with that being said, that kind of covers all those review criteria and staff report and discussion. So, if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a question. What's the little sliver down the center of
That was gonna be my question.
east side of Syringa? What's
So that
the reason
sliver
there?
is, when our GIS was putting the map together, there was actually, our GIS layer didn't include, there was a piece of a sliver along Syringa Street that wasn't included in the city. So upon this annexation, it was included with that to annex it in, rather than annex just the property, and then you have this random strip of sliver of county within Syringa Street.
Is this included in their annexation area?
Correct, yes.
So they're paying the annexation for that sliver?
Correct. Yeah, it's included with so the property itself is being annexed in, as well as that sliver along Syringa Street, to kind of help close off and prevent any pocket that would be created for county. So otherwise you end up with, if they just did the property itself and the right-of-way adjacent, you would end up with the sliver from Legion Road south on Syringa to,
It just looks like that would have
Yeah.
gotten annexed in with the previous development.
Yeah,
True.
ideally, that's generally what occurs. It
Yep.
was identified in this that, if we had a legal description that included that, then it would help square off the community. The applicant decided, and was willing to go ahead and include that area with their legal description as far as looking at the benefits of this annexation.
Generous.
Yeah.
good question though. It's an odd sliver. Anything else for staff?
That was I had the same question. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Yeah, applicant, come up, state your name and address for the record, please.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Merle Van Houten. I'm a civil engineer, and the address is 401 East Sherman Avenue in Coeur d'Alene. I'm coming to you tonight for this annexation request of 221 North Syringa Street into the R1 zone of the city of Post Falls. It's represented by that orange rectangle right there in the right-hand side of the screen. A little bit about who we are. I'm the owner of Van Houten Consulting and Design, and I'm representing Blackwell Homes, who is local to Kootenai County and has other current projects in the county and ties to the community. They acquired this 1.06 acre piece of land that's zoned ag suburban in the county, and request that we change that to a city of Post Falls property that's zoned R1 for the purpose of a single family development. So a little bit of background on what we have currently. Existing conditions. This is very similar to what Ethan showed us, and I concur with Ethan's presentation. He did a great job. It's always a pleasure to work with the planning staff here. So I'll kind of keep with trying not to be too redundant to what he said, but we have R1 surrounding on all sides with Syringa Court and Legion Manor. We have Legion Road, which is a local road connecting with Syringa, which is a minor collector. Both of those roads will receive additional dedicated right-of-way to be consistent with city standards, and then at the time of development, those portions of right-of-way would be improved to the city standards. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but But yeah, establishing that we are just a small pocket of county property that is surrounded by R1 in the city of Post Falls on all sides. Taking a look at it on the ground level, the first picture on the left is Syringa Avenue. Looking east at the existing single-family residence, it's kind of surrounded by mature trees, but you're getting a glimpse of the house and the detached garage. You can see that the terrain is typical of the Rathdrum Prairie. Over on the right, we're now standing on Legion. That same house is over the fence in the background. But what you notice on both of those pictures is that we've got an edge of pavement that's unimproved. As I just said, with the right-of-way dedication and then the improvements that will come during development, we'll see that that gets expanded to the full width of the county standards, along with curb and gutter, swales, street trees, sidewalk. This is the only quarter of that intersection of Syringa and Legion that hasn't been improved to that standard yet, so it'll provide continuity throughout once that's achieved. So we do that with this request to bring it into the R1 zone, and as Ethan pointed out, we are surrounded on all sides by R1, so it's hard to make a case for any other city to annex into than Post Falls and any other zoning code to request than R1. So we're going with the paths of least resistance here, and again, we've got Syringa, Legion, Village of Syringa, and Kimberly Fields on all sides of us. And yeah, just in case you're curious about the purple and the lavender, that's our smart code S3 and S4 for the crossings in the first edition. But everything else is solidly R1. Okay, so now that we've established that, we've got our review of the comprehensive plan and compatibility. That future land use map, as Ethan pointed out, here we're just kind of solidly in a sea of low-density residential. So this is the use that goes for all types of single-family residential up to 8 units per acre, and that is compatible with what we are setting out to do. And the focus area is that central island where the goals that establishes is to promote infill development, which we definitely qualify for there, prioritize annexation opportunities, and then focus growth on high-density residential uses near higher classified roadways. So again, I feel like this is just kind of going along with the flow and doing well to be compatible with what this comprehensive plan states. In the narrative I submitted to the city, I went through probably over a dozen goals and policies, but in the interest of everybody's time here tonight, I've just chosen a few to highlight. I'm happy to go into those other ones and answer questions, but the ones that I have up here on the slide is goal number 2, high quality, affordable, and efficient community services. So what we have the opportunity to do here is create additional single-family residences without the need for expansion of city services. Public roads are already there. Public water and sewer systems are already there. So there's really no expansion of city or municipal services to create this pocket neighborhood. And what it will give the residents of Post Falls is another opportunity to work and reside in the same place. So policy number 9, encourage annexation of county islands. So again, we are definitely one of those county islands. We are surrounded by that R1 zone, and we can get ourselves annexed in without any need to extend any kind of public facilities. So, and that last goal there, number 33, I like, and chose to include in this because enable completion or preserve continuity of circulatory patterns for road and pedestrian ways. So, in addition to being a last little island of county land, we can bring this in and we can create a little, some single-family residential housing without having to take that additional traffic through an existing neighborhood. We'll connect right to Legion. People will pull out of their garage, get onto Legion, get onto Syringa, and be on their way without impacting any other existing neighborhood. So I feel that that's another benefit of this neighborhood that would be really just advantageous to have. And again, like I said earlier, this will come along with additional sidewalks that provides the continuity and connectivity to the other parts of this intersection and the neighborhood, the greater neighborhood. So I can stand here and answer any questions, but that is the overarching request, and thank you for your time.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
No
I
questions?
have a question. So you'll be adding the sidewalk and swale along Syringa as well as Legion?
So at the time of development of the property, that would be a requirement of the city, yes.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
That's a good question.
Any public comment?
Chairman, we have one written comment, but it's a little unclear if they wish to speak. May I bring it to you?
Yeah. Chris Holsick, is that right?
I don't. She gave it to me. She wasn't sure.
Or was that the gentleman you were talking with?
I was talking to, but it didn't have to do with the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so just confusion, okay.
Pretty sure that's who I was talking to.
All right. In that case, is there anybody else that would like to speak on this hearing? All right, there's nobody else. No need for rebuttal, so we'll close the public hearing and go into the review criteria. All right, review criteria 1, is the proposed zoning district consistent with the future land use map and focused area contained in the current adopted Post Falls comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Appears as though it absolutely is.
The future land use plan map says that it's supposed to be low-density residential, and and R1 is a implementing zone for that.
Agreed. Review criteria number 2, is the proposed zoning district consistent with the goals and policies contained in the currently adopted Post Falls comprehensive plan that are relevant to the area under consideration?
Yeah, there were quite a few that were outlined. I liked policy 9 and 33 that were outlined by the applicant, especially 33. That's a difficult an expensive corner to get all that continuity on. And that'll be pretty nice to have someone undertake that.
Yeah.
Right, I want to piggyback on that a little bit. It's really rare for us to see small 1-acre annexations that are infill. It's really, really hard for them to economically pencil, especially when they're on a corner.
Yeah.
And so I think when they come up, it's one of those things that we should give special attention to.
All right, next one. Does the proposed zoning district create any demonstrable adverse impact upon the delivery of services by any political subdivision providing public services within the city?
No.
No.
Yeah, there hasn't been any testimony or letters in the record
Yeah.
to state that
Yes.
there is
Yeah.
any demonstrated impact
No, none.
Yep.
or adverse impact anyway.
Adverse, yeah. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts?
I think it's a no-brainer.
Easy.
Anybody would like to make a motion? I would entertain that. We're just voting on the, it's good, not voting, but recommendation on the zoning recommendation that'll go to city council.
I'll give it a shot. I move to recommend approval of Legion Park Annexation File ANNX 23-7, finding that the requested zoning of R1 meets the approval criteria for Post Falls Municipal Code 18.20.100 as outlined in our deliberations, and direct staff to prepare a zoning recommendation to be provided to City Council.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor,
Second.
and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Empey,
Yes.
Schlafhauer,
Yes.
Wilhelm,
Yes.
Stephenson,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Walton.
Yes.
All right, that'll move on to city council. Next item, administrative and/or staff reports.
None.
None. Any commissioner comments tonight?
None.
None. All right.
Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yep. Should have brought candy, John. Cheese and candy.
Cheese and candy.
They go together.
Heart-shaped
right?
cheese, maybe.
Hershey's Kisses.
I think the Valentine's Day gifts will be sent to us individually.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I second
More
that.
personalized
Thanks,
that way.
John.
Thanks.
Thanks, John.
All right, next item on the agenda.
Move to adjourn.
All right. Second? Anybody second? Everybody seconds. All right. Adjourned.
Thank you, Commissioner.